Do that. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Let's start off with our daily pledge. Today is a new day. I'm ready to be the best me I can be. I will listen so I can learn. I will try hard so my brain can grow. I will not give up. I can learn anything I put my mind to. So remember, yesterday we were talking about motivation and we were talking about visual aids and putting up a motivation wall. And we were talking about maybe drawing out on your own some pots. And what are you going to write in those pots? And what are you going to choose to water every day? And so that's kind of what we talked about. And I hope you had an opportunity to think about motivation and what that looks like for you and what changes you can make for yourself. On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling this morning? Did you wake up feeling really great? Did you wake up not feeling so hot? If not, it kind of sets the tone for your day and what you know you need to do with that. If you have lots of energy, use that energy. If you don't, get out your toolbox, get out your tool bag, reach out to a friend, start checking in on yourself. Make sure that you're doing all the things that you need to do to feel better, to manage your mental health. Remember, 'tis the season. Remember, we've talked about seasonal affective disorder. Gloomy days can sometimes bring us down, but most importantly, keep yourself in check. Are you sleeping too much? Is your anxiety increased? Maybe you're eating more. Maybe you're isolating more. Maybe you're canceling appointments more, whatever it may be. If there's red flags, let's start noticing them so that we can do something about it before it becomes a real issue. So today I wanted to talk about the stress vulnerability model. And so that's kind of a fancy terminology, but I found some better worksheets on the stress bucket. Let's talk about stress. We've talked about stress many a times, but the thing about it is you can really never talk about it too much because it affects us every single day of our life. Good stress, bad stress. It affects how we function, how we get up, how we handle things, and so on and so forth. But I really liked this interpretation of the stress bucket. It's the same concept. So I'll show you a picture of it. Again, remember, I find so many great worksheets. Go on Pinterest. People have amazing information. This is www.mode4. A lot of stuff sometimes comes from the UK, but they have really great examples. So this is our stress bucket, okay? And they say that the stress bucket, the size of the bucket goes with your vulnerability. How vulnerable are you to stress? Now, part of what this happens is that a lot of us have a biological factor, right? How many of you are kind of already predisposed to stress? Maybe you already have mental health diagnoses in your family. And so environmentally, you already predisposed to anxiety and depression or schizoaffective disorder or bipolar or borderline or bipolar, whatever it may be. So some of us already kind of have that vulnerability to stress. We have a lot of things that is kind of just our chemical makeup in our body. And so that makes us vulnerable to stress. So that's what the size of the bucket is. They say the more vulnerable you are to it, the bigger your bucket is. That's why we need to have more coping skills. Okay, so if you have a big bucket because you're more vulnerable, we need to make sure we have a big toolbox because we're going to need lots of tools. So what goes in, stress is what flows into the bucket. Okay, so the more stress you have, it keeps flowing into the bucket. So picture this bucket. So the size of our bucket, say you're really predisposed to stress. Say you're super vulnerable to stress. So this is a huge bucket and we got lots of stress going in there. That's paying your bills, taking care of your family, going to work, physical health. If your physical health is poor, that's a lot of stress. Maybe you just have stress with family and friends. Maybe you have a lot of stress of just meal planning, organization, paperwork, whatever it may be. These are all stressors that go into the bucket. So think about your bucket and think about everything that flows in there. This can happen all day long. This can happen every minute, every second of the day. Stress is flowing into the bucket. Now, the thing that you need to make sure that you have is ways to drain the bucket. Okay, so that's where our coping skills come into play. You have to have coping skills to drain the bucket. Otherwise, the bucket's going to keep overflowing. And then they say this causes emotional snapping. We do not want that. So again, your vulnerability to stress determines the size of the bucket. And if you have lots of stress coming in, we have to be able to drain that bucket, right? We have to empty all of that out because we don't want to continue to do that. What's going to happen? It's going to start to overflow. That causes emotional distress. That causes physical distress. It causes more anxiety, more depression, literally a meltdown, right? Because everything's overflowing. And so that's where the bucket model, whatever comes in, we need to be able to drain out. That's where your coping skills come into place. That's why we talk about tools, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Every week we talk about your toolbox. And I say that, and I'm hoping that everybody's working on those things because it is important. I need to do that. Everybody needs to work on tools because those are the things that keep us going. So again, that's what I want to talk about. But I want to talk about what are common symptoms of stress. When you think about the bucket overflowing and you think about the bucket kind of maxing out, what does that look like? Here are some things we need to look for. Again, I know that you know what that looks like, but it's good to review it because sometimes maybe we forget. So there's 10 common symptoms of stress. Ready? Number 1, you're easily irritated and quick to snap. If everything is making you mad and you're agitated and you're irritated, nothing's going right, it doesn't even matter what's around you, but everybody's upset or you're upset at everybody around you. That's a common symptom of stress. Number 2, you struggle feeling motivated to do daily tasks. If it's hard to get up and get out of bed or to make a meal or to clean up or to get dressed or to brush your teeth, if those are all a struggle, those are common symptoms of stress. Number 3, you're experiencing headaches, stomach aches, body aches. If you're in a lot of physical pain and you're not quite sure why, that's stress. Stress starts to attack your body. When you have stress overload, stress picks certain points of your body that it's going to attack, and it's just going to terrorize. And so when we have a lot of stress, that's bad for our physical health because our body really starts to take a toll. And then ultimately it leads to a whole mountain of problems. Number 4, you experience tightness and tension in muscles. If you're walking around like a hunch cat like that, that's stress. Number 5, you feel exhausted all the time. Number 6, you feel like you work so hard all the time, but you hardly make any progress. Like the wheel's just constantly spinning, but you're not getting anywhere. That's feeling stressed out. Number 7, there's so much to do, but you have a difficult time deciding what to do first. If you become indecisive or if you're just really struggling to make a decision, or really it's become a lack of focus, like you can't even think straight anymore. You know you have a lot to do, but you can't even think about where to even start. Like it's just not coming to the front of your brain. That's too much stress. Number 8, you have trouble sleeping. Number 9, you're putting effort into physical appearance you aren't putting effort into physical appearance and taking care of yourself. If you quit taking care of yourself, you're stressed out. If it's hard to shower, if it's hard to get out of bed, if it's hard to get dressed, if it's hard to eat right or exercise, it's all stress. It's consuming you. It takes over. And number 10, you have a worrisome and racing thoughts. If you have too many racing thoughts, that's too much stress. I kind of like this. So how do we do stress management? How do we empty the bucket? Remember, we're talking about the stress vulnerability bucket. Remember, the size of the bucket depends on how vulnerable you are to stress. All the stress going into the bucket needs to come out. But first, we need to figure out some ways of stress management. I like this little worksheet. It talks about first, you need to understand what is actually causing you stress. That seems legitimate. From here, you can take a direct action towards your stressors. So we need to figure out what's actually bothering us. Sometimes we think we're stressed out, but we're not really for sure what that looks like. We don't really know why. And maybe it's just that you have so many emotions inside of you, you just don't even know how to process that. You're not knowing what's going on. So any little task that comes your way makes you feel stressed out. So we really just need to get to the root of the problem. First and foremost, understand what's actually stressing you out. Is it work? Is it home? Is it family? Is it friends? Is it appointments? Is it your physical health? What's causing you stress? Because what happens to a lot of people is that their physical health and their family and their friends can start to take a toll on everything else on their life. And they may think that it's everything else that's stressing them out, but it's actually not. It's kind of you got to go back to the root of the problem. They say, second, learn how to use your breathing. Breathing is the most powerful tool you have. Remember, I've told you before, I huff and puff all day long. But it's not out of irritation or whatever you want to call it. I think that's my coping skill. So on a day that I may be feeling overwhelmed, I'm just huffing and puffing away. So keep breathing. That's one of our most powerful tools. Third, you need to be kind to yourself. Stress is a primitive response and not something you needed to fight. Remember, there's good stress and there's bad stress, but you need to take care of yourself in the process. If you beat yourself up or you don't take good care of yourself, everything else around you starts to take a toll. It goes back to your self-care wheel. When one thing starts to go, the other thing starts to go. All right. And fourth, and last but not least, ask for help. If you know you're overwhelmed and you can't do it and things start to crumble around you and you're just feeling overwhelmed, you're emotionally shot, you're exhausted, you haven't slept, your physical health is poor, then you need to ask for help. So those are 4 practical ways to manage your stress. You need to do a little check-in. Have you been eating? I like this. Sometimes it's just as simple as you haven't ate. Yesterday, my oldest daughter came home. She had such a headache. She said she was just, she had a long day. I said, have you ate today? Well, not really. Have you drank water today? No. Well, those are 2 key pieces of keeping yourself well so you don't get a headache, so you can manage everything around you. And guess what? She had some water. She ate some food. She relaxed a minute. She started to feel better. And so those are just simple ways of taking care of ourselves. Maybe you just need to find a quiet spot to meditate. So again, now we're getting into the part where we're going to drain the stress bucket, okay? We're going to open up the faucet and we're going to get rid of those stressors. And we're going to use our coping skills to get rid of those stressors. Light music, exercise, a gratitude journal, cuddling with a pet, trying something new, reading a book, exercise, catch up with a friend, a good cup of coffee, practicing deep breathing. Okay, so get out your toolbox and start using all of the things that you need to do to handle your stress so we can empty the bucket. Other ways to relieve stress, focusing on what you can control and what you can't control. Oh my goodness, I better get it out. What can and cannot control? That is the first place that sometimes we need to look at our stress. If you're looking at ways to empty that bucket of vulnerability and that stress bucket, you need to focus on the things you can and cannot control. The only thing you can control is yourself. You cannot control the things around you. You have to let those go, right? It's too much. It's overwhelming. You can't change people, you can't change situations, but you can control yourself. So that's one of the first ways that you are going to manage your stress, is to focus on you and how you can improve yourself. Again, they say breathing. Do something that makes you laugh. When's the last time you had a laugh that made you laugh so hard your stomach muscles hurt? You need a good laugh. Watch your favorite TV shows. Do some yoga. Do something to help other people. Maybe you need to give back or pay it forward. Try a craft or go like something like knitting. Come on down to the center. I believe we have Cats Crafts coming up. Exercise for 20 minutes, practicing self-talk, take a bath. Okay, that's another thing. That's one of my coping tools, especially in the winter months. It's just take a nice hot bath. It's relaxing. You can go get those like melatonin, lavender Epsom salts. That's a really great way to just unwind and relax and just decompress your mind. One more thing. There's good ways and there's bad ways to deal with stress. If you deal with stress in a bad way, that's only going to continue to fill up your bucket. If you use bad, harmful ways to cope with your stress, this is not going to drain our stress bucket. It's going to continue to fill up our bucket. And then what happens? It's going to start to overflow. And remember, emotionally and mentally and physically, everything starts to crumble around us. So let's talk about this. Okay, so good stress is being proactive. Bad stress is overeating. Okay, so we need to do something about it. But if we start overeating and we try to stuff our feelings with food, that's a bad way to deal with stress. A good way is exercise. A bad way is alcohol, drinking, drugs, whatever it may be. That's a bad way to handle stress. That's going to cause more problems. It's going to continue to fill up your bucket. Journaling is a good thing. Anger is a bad thing. Again, what we said, you got to go back to the root of the problem. What is actually going on in your life? Is it really the thing that you think is stressing you out, or is there something else at the core of all these problems? Figure out what you're actually stressed out about. A good thing is meditation. A bad way is self-harm. Do not harm yourself. Do not hurt yourself. If it gets to that point, please reach out to your support team. Please reach out to your arms worker, your case manager, or the crisis team. Reach out to somebody around you. A good way of coping with stress is planning. A bad way is nicotine. Good way is small steps. Bad way is shopping. We get impulsive, right? We start overspending, or maybe people start gambling, things like that, okay? Coping with good stress is acceptance. We have to accept that this is the way things are. We need to plan. A bad way is ignoring it. If we keep stuffing problems and shoving them aside, that will only fill up our bucket and things are going to get worse. A good way is talking about it, and a bad way is excuses. When we blame other people and all we have is excuses, we start to continually fill up the bucket. Our problems get worse and we haven't solved anything. Whew. So that is the stress bucket model. I want to talk about the stress vulnerability model. Remember, the size of the bucket depends on how vulnerable you are. If you're already predisposed or you experience mental health from family members, your environment, or things are hereditary, remember, that's how big your bucket is. And so sometimes our bucket can be really big because we're really vulnerable to stress. And that's why it's so important to fill up your toolbox plumb full of coping skills so that you can already have ways to combat that. Get your army ready so you can combat stress as it comes in. Otherwise, if we let the bucket fill up way too much, it becomes difficult to manage and it's hard to use our tools. But let's make sure that we're using good tools versus bad tools, okay? So your challenge for today is take a look at your stress bucket. Take a look at your vulnerability. Do you have the correct amount of tools you need to manage those stressors and to get rid of those stressors? And first and foremost, how are you handling them in a good way or a bad way? So that's your challenge for today. And remember, get your tennis shoes out tomorrow morning. We're going for a walk. Have a good rest of your day.